Have you ever met someone who has absolutely zero interest in dating? I mean, most of us immediately jump to conclusions, right? We assume they must be afraid of commitment, or, maybe they just haven't met the right person yet, or even worse, we assume that they are secretly, painfully lonely behind closed doors. But what if literally none of those assumptions are true? Today, we are going to completely debunk these common myths and look at what the research actually tells us about people who absolutely thrive on their own.
All right, to start things off, let's look at Section 1, the singlehood myth.
Now, what's really interesting here is the massive paradigm shift that's happening in modern psychology. For a super long time, singlehood was viewed as just a waiting room, basically, like a temporary phase you try to escape as quickly as humanly possible. I mean, just think about the script we're all handed from a very early age. You graduate, you find a partner, get married, buy a house, have children, and finally settle down. It's like a conveyor belt. Our movies, our social media feeds, and especially our family expectations constantly pressure us to follow this exact sequence if we want to find happiness. We're told this is the only legitimate path to a successful adult life. But what happens when you decide to step off that path?
Well, as it turns out, happiness doesn't always depend on romance. Actually, research clearly shows that for a very large number of people, things like personal freedom, emotional peace, meaningful friendships, and self-growth bring far greater and honestly often more stable satisfaction than romance ever could. It's a really profound realization that the standard societal timeline just isn't a one-size-fits-all roadmap to joy.
Let's move right along to Section 2, key emotional advantages.
When we look really closely at the psychology behind this lifestyle choice, there are a few key emotional advantages that really stand out. We are talking about profound independence, strong self-esteem, emotional stability, and a deep, ongoing commitment to self-discovery. You see, so many of us grow up believing a partner is going to somehow fill our emotional gaps. But emotionally healthy people who actually enjoy being single, they don't need another person to complete them. Why? Because they've already built a deeply fulfilling, highly stable relationship with themselves. They don't depend on someone else to make them feel worthy or loved. They've generated that self-esteem entirely internally. They literally already feel whole.
Building right off of that independence, we arrive at a really powerful realization. Freedom isn't loneliness, it's happiness. Single individuals often value this independence above absolutely everything else. Just think about it for a second. Relationships naturally require compromise. You share your time, you make joint decisions, but some people feel they're absolute, unquestionably happiest when they have complete, unfiltered control over their own lives. They want the freedom to travel on a whim, pursue their passions without any restrictions, and make spontaneous decisions without having to consult anyone else or compromise. To them, living entirely on their own terms is the ultimate form of joy.
And that leads us perfectly into Section 3, protecting peace and purpose.
So freedom is fantastic, obviously. But another massive factor in choosing singlehood is what happens when past experiences fundamentally shift our priorities. Sometimes painful breakups, emotional neglect, or spending years in unhealthy dynamics completely change what a person is looking for in life. So instead of jumping right back into the dating pool, they start valuing peace over unnecessary drama. Let's be honest, every relationship, even the absolute best, healthiest ones, comes with challenges, emotional ups and downs, and, the occasional argument over whose turn it is to load the dishwasher. While a lot of people find those compromises rewarding, some individuals simply decide that protecting their mental and emotional well-being matters significantly more than dealing with constant conflict. They seek out healing and emotional growth instead of just endlessly searching for a new partner.
And this brilliantly illustrates a simple, profound truth. No relationship is better than the wrong one. A toxic relationship can severely damage your confidence, create constant stress, and leave lasting emotional scars. Choosing to remain single, whether that's just until the right person comes along or indefinitely, is definitely not a sign of failure. Actually, scratch that, it's the opposite. It is a massive sign of emotional intelligence and profound self-respect. They understand the immense value of their peace of mind and just flat out refuse to sacrifice it simply to avoid being alone.
Alongside protecting their peace, they are fiercely protecting their purpose. Think about the massive amount of energy it takes to build a career, start a business, travel the world, create art, or make a real, tangible impact in your community. Serious relationships require a ton of time, a ton of commitment, and a lot of emotional bandwidth. Instead of trying to juggle all of those relationship demands, some individuals consciously choose to pour all of their energy into these specific life goals. They aren't sacrificing love at all. They are actively investing in the exact future they truly want to build.
Now for a really vital distinction. Let's look at Section 4,
Solitude versus loneliness. To truly understand a happily single person, you absolutely have to understand the difference between being alone and feeling lonely, because these two concepts are completely different beasts. So, the crucial point is this. For people who love being single, being alone actually recharges their energy. They might spend their time reading, learning a new skill, or just exploring nature. They actively embrace silence because it gives them the necessary space to reflect and grow. Feeling lonely, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. It drains your energy. It makes you fear the silence and leaves you feeling isolated and disconnected. The big takeaway here is that healthy solitude gives you life, while loneliness drains it away. Once someone masters that healthy solitude, the fear of being alone completely vanishes.
Which perfectly sets up our final section today, redefining true success.
When you no longer fear being alone, you stop letting other people dictate how you should live your life. People who love being single flat out refuse to let society define what a successful life looks like. Instead of adhering to that traditional timeline we talked about earlier, they measure success by personal freedom, fulfillment, purpose, and inner peace. Choosing to stay single definitely doesn't mean someone is broken or incapable of love. It just means they have forged a completely unique path based on personal growth and the incredibly quiet, powerful confidence of truly knowing themselves.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on. How do you measure your happiness when you wake up every morning? Because at the end of the day, neither path, single or partnered, is inherently better than the other. Happiness isn't measured by a relationship status on social media, right? It's measured by that deep, inner fulfillment you feel when you open your eyes each day. So the next time you meet someone who genuinely loves being single, don't assume they're missing out on something. They might just have found the exact inner peace that many people spend their entire lives searching for. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring what makes you truly fulfilled.